Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. This is a hangout especially for solo entrepreneurs who like to get together and share their knowledge and support one another and just generally test things out. Some of us are all still learning how to make use of this platform. This is quite a different place for me this morning because this is all being done from within the Being Your Own CEO community. So it seemed that nobody had any problem getting in, so 3 cheers for that, three cheers for everyone. So I would like to start us off this morning as we normally do, just by introducing ourselves and telling what we do in our business. And so, Nathan, you're on my right-hand side this morning, so would you care to go first?
Okay, well, yeah, sure. My name is Nathan. My gig for the last number of years has been working as a freelance writer, and I've been looking at opportunities to transition out of that, and one of those came up last week, just an idea from long ago. Many years ago, I'd been trained in the healing arts, so body work, craniosacral therapy, and so on. And on this topic of finding customers, I thought, well, you know, I'm a part of all these groups in the Baja, which is where I'm living. And so I put up an announcement, and after getting booted a couple of times for violating forum rules, I found a place where I could post it, and it took off. I mean, I wound up giving some free sessions, and this one woman said, "I'm going to introduce you to people," and she did, and it just went like wildfire, and just a whole bunch of stuff went out there real fast. So anyway, that's what's going on right now.
Wow, so when you said rules about posting, was that within the community or online?
It was in different Facebook communities, or groups rather, and I posted in 2 groups, and my ad got bounced, and I couldn't figure out why I didn't get a response. So I went back and checked and realized, oh, I violated the group rules. And then I checked with other groups, found 2 others where it looked like it would work, and posted. One group removed it, the other group kept it, and that's where everything took off.
Oh, interesting. Well, so that's really good news for you, Nathan.
We will see. I mean, I've been invited to work in a storefront in Rosarito by one of my clients, and so we'll see. I'll know in a week whether I'm going to wind up there or not.
Lovely. Oh, well, keep us posted. Oh, I see Anne has joined us. Welcome, Anne. We're in the introductory session here, so we'll just carry on. How about you, Larry? How would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Larry Earnhardt with Alchemy Business Consulting. I am the Profit Mentor, and I help small business owners to make their businesses as profitable as possible. And I will be speaking at the next host meeting, Home Office Support Team, next Friday at 10 a.m. On this very subject. So, yeah. So if you're in the neighborhood, you're welcome to come by and join me. There will be cookies.
Only cookies?
Homemade cookies, yes.
Yeah.
What, no chocolates this time, Larry?
Well, they're chocolate chip cookies.
For the benefit of others, Larry's known for his homemade chocolates. So, welcome back. We haven't seen you for a little while, so it's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
And Jay, I think you're next in line. How would you like to introduce?
I would like to introduce myself by saying hello, my name is Jay, and my company is affiliateresources.org, and I help people build online businesses. Done.
I can forget to turn my manage the mute thing here. So, okay. Good morning, Jay, and welcome back. And Craig, you're next.
Hi, my name's Craig, and my company is Who Marketing. I don't think I've mentioned that before. I help local small businesses with their online presences. That's what I do.
There, I did it again. Thank you, Craig, and welcome. And Cheryl Ann, you're next.
And I thought you were just lost for words, Lolan. So I'm Cheryl Ann Webster. You can find me at CherylAnnWebster.com. I'm an artist and speaker, and basically I empower women and girls and anybody who's associated, lives with, or cares for women and girls. And I do that through the arts, helping people to see themselves differently, because when we change how we see ourselves, we change how we live, and it's for the better.
That's a nice byline. I like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl Ann. And last but not least, Ann.
Hi there. Okay, I'm not muted anymore.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble finding things this morning, but here I am. I am Ann. My company is Visionary Business Solutions. I help small businesses get themselves organized so they can make more money, and I specialize in the construction industry.
On. So, before I forget, I really want to mention the video that Cheryl Ann did of Ann doing some of her crafting work. And that was kind of fun. Oh, you got it. So we have Heather Crafter in our audience today. She helped me put this whole community thing together. She's part of our Hangout Mastery group, and a very supportive group, I might add. And she does a lot of online work with crafts. So you folks may want to get in touch with her. And I think it sounds as though, Cheryl Ann, you've already gotten acquainted with Heather in the past. So
I do. I love her to bits. She is such a wonderful person, great crafter, and extremely helpful. Yeah. She got me set up with all kinds of cameras so that when I coach using art therapy techniques, I can actually show my clients my hands, what I'm working on, and they can do the same too. So thanks very much.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I guess I better introduce myself. Shouldn't forget that, should I? In my work style, lifestyle coaching work, I just love helping solo entrepreneurs find direction, stay motivated, and build some systems that will help to promote and support their business. I run this Being Your Own CEO every Tuesday morning, and just this week I formed a community. And most of you, I think, in the room today have joined the community, and so it's going to be really interesting to see how that progresses. So in conversation with Heather yesterday, she really emphasized how going this route for her was about really having a sort of an intimate relationship with her clients using this kind of a technique, and that certainly resonates for me as well. So I welcome you all into the community and really invite you all to post things and support one another and share information there. So this morning, did anyone have a burning issue that they wanted to raise before we launch into a specific topic?
No, but I might request whoever's receiving all those wonderful texts that they mute them.
Sort of say again?
Somebody's receiving lots of notifications. If they can mute them, that would be great.
Oh, are you seeing? What are you seeing? Where are you seeing that?
Maybe I'm the only one who's hearing little bings. It's all happening in my head, but I'm muted and I've got no notifications on.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Cheryl?
They're everywhere. It's the aliens again and the werewolves.
No, I heard it. It's just phone notifications, yeah.
I think it's my phone. I did turn the sound off, by the way, but
I looked to check if it was mine. I'm like, no, I turned my sound off. I don't think it's me.
See, it's just another way to find our audience members. Who are they, where are they, and how do we get to them? I think it's a perfect lead-in.
Can't be anything in another room on the other side of the house.
okay, so so that's the burning issue, is it? The pings are annoying.
Well, the pings are just all those clients calling in saying, we want to hire you, we want to hire you. They'll pay you lots of money.
Oh, dear. I see that I really should share something with you. This is new for you folks and new for me. But here is a comment. Heather is out there. It's very good to see you. Cheryl Ann Webster, looks like you are doing great. So isn't that nice to see? And I figured out how to do that. So anyway, this morning, the topic, where do we find our marketing audiences? Nathan mentioned this morning that he found somebody on Facebook, in a Facebook group, I guess you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could concentrate for a little while on where we find our audiences online, but I don't think it would be a good idea to limit ourselves there, because there are lots of other places that we find our audiences, aren't there?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, certainly the group that we all find ourselves associated with, Host, is certainly one place that we find our colleagues and customers. So networking groups in the community certainly are a huge piece, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nathan really summed up what it's all about, is going and finding where your audience hangs out. And so what he did is he actively went and did that. So he took action, and I applaud you for doing that. I think that's great. And as a result of it, he's kind of put the pebble in the pond, so to speak. And so he's starting down that path, which I think is great. So figuring out where your audience is, I think, is imperative. Regardless whether it's online, offline, on the phone, wherever, and then try to kind of gently put yourself in front of that audience without being too abrasive, and engage and become part of that audience, so that you can mingle, as what people here in Victoria do with the Host networking meetings, right? So. In terms of my audience is online, and my audience is through search. So I rely on the search engines. One metric I rely is the search engines to have people try to find me, and the way I do that is by writing content. So so if someone's looking for a specific review of a product that they want to purchase, they would look it up online. So they would go to a search engine and type product name review, and then whoosh. So then, based on my content, my site would show up on the first page of Google, and that is, and that's the best way that my business works in terms of attracting an audience. And it's what I like to call evergreen. I'm sure everyone here has heard that. Evergreen is where you put something in the search engines, based on your content and your website, and it hopefully stays there for a long time. So as like an evergreen, it does take time to grow that audience, but once you have that audience, it's a strong audience, and once you have that presence inside the search engines, it's a strong presence, and it could last there for literally years and years and years.
So really figuring out what various people would be looking for, and going to and providing it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and there's ways to find out what people are searching for online. Google has a free tool within their AdWords suite, and it's called opportunities. I think it's under opportunities, keyword opportunities they call it. It's a free tool, and it gives you a rough estimate of how many people are searching for a particular key phrase. So, for example, we can do one phrase that caught my attention was art therapy. Cheryl Ann said which sounds very interesting, by the way. Anyways, that's why it caught my interest, right? So let's use art therapy for an example. So we would go to the keyword opportunity tool, type that in, and I would type it in quotes, because then what it does is it tells Google, hey, Google, could you please tell me how many people exactly search that exact phrase, please? And then, whoosh, then they come back and they tell you how long, how many people are, let's say 500 people every month are actually searching for that. Okay, great, so that's good. That sounds like a really good way to get in front of my audience, is putting myself in front of those people that are searching with that keyword. So now the next challenge is to determine how complicated or how difficult or how challenging it would be to put yourself up in the search engines on the first page for that keyword. So there's a variety of tools, and inside that Google Keyword Opportunity tool, it does have a little column that tells you competition, sort of. It's called low, medium, high, right? The tool that I use is called Jaxy, so it's Jaaxy. Think Saanich with 2 A's.
Yeah, right.
For those of you who are in the YYJ here, so. And what Jaxy does is it shows you how many people search for that keyword in a given month, the level of competition, meaning how strong are those websites in the search engines, and if it's a low competition keyword and it has a high search volume, we call that in my industry a low-hanging fruit, because it's easy to pick.
Okay.
And then so if we determine that there's a keyword that has a high search volume, low competition, then what we do is we base content. We write content based around the idea of art therapy, for example, right? So you can write art therapy services, and you can start kind of elaborating with different pieces of content that solely focus on that particular keyword. And the cool thing is when you focus on one keyword within an article, and the article is ranging from say 600 to 2,000 words, what Google does is it picks up other keywords that you have inside the content, and you'll get ranked for that as well. So it's a really great win-win situation when it comes to the search engines. As long as your content is quality and you've got a really good CTA at the bottom. CTA means call to actions, which is what you want people to do at the end of writing their article.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, that's what I do. So I'm hogging here. So I'll turn it over to someone else.
Well, so by using the keyword situation, that's one way. But there are. I was thinking about the other day, I guess it was a client that I was speaking to who was really struggling with trying to figure out which social media or social media platform to go to. And it struck me that she really had no idea how to even figure out where, when I said to her, well, go where your clients are, she was really struggling with, well, how do I figure that out? How do I know which platform my clients go to? And so I started thinking about, various ways to help her do that. And I guess what it came down to me was, what are some of the things that people look for? Do they look for entertainment when they're online or when they're in a social media platform? Do they look for intellectual engagement? Do they look for education or information? Or are they just looking for professional connections? And that's LinkedIn. That's a pretty obvious one. But that's that's the kind of information that we need to know about the client that we want to work with.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's a tough one for some people to figure out why do people go online at all?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think and in terms of finding your audience through social media, like where they hang out within what social media platform, you really can. There are ways to find that out. Like, for example, Google Plus Communities, you can go and search your keyword term,
yeah,
and take a look at the communities and see if they're active, see how many members are there. Is the content all just people putting links to their own site? Are they asking questions? You know, these are the kind of things that you want to ask, you know, as you do your research. The same thing with Twitter is you can go to Twitter and you can search your keyword within their search, and a whole bunch of results will end up coming up, and then you just kind of take a look at the people who are engaging within these conversations within Twitter. With Facebook, it's the same kind of thing, right? Where you just at the top, you just put your search in, and yeah, and you determine where do they hang out. So, you know, and another thing is too is you really can base your initial keyword research when you're looking for social media hangout areas. You know, if there's a lot of people searching the term, you know, art therapy, then you know then you have a good gauge in terms of people are probably going to be hanging out within probably, I would imagine, Facebook. Because people who are involved in art therapy, this is one of those things where you have to step away from the computer and you kind of think, where would art therapy people hang out? Well, where do I hang out because I'm interested in art therapy, right? And then going from there, and that's, I think, really important is where do you hang out when you talk about, you know, this kind of thing? Because the last thing you want to do is you want to jump into a new social media platform that you're not comfortable with or you don't use that often. Because then it's another uphill battle that you have to try to find this, you know, this where people are hanging out, you know. So the alternative is that if people are hanging out in one social media platform and you prefer another one, I mean, you can always kind of mold them over into your own social media platform.
Yeah.
I would also add, though, there's a difference sometimes between our audience and the decision maker. Obviously, it depends on your business, but I've used a lot of social media to connect with the actual audience, the people who are going to sit in the room and listen to me or be a part of one of my workshops. I connect with them, but what it took me a long time to realize is they're not the decision makers often that hire me for the bigger gigs that are going to involve 200 to 500 staff members. So it's been interesting. I built community through Facebook. I have had one full paying gig for social services through Facebook, and honestly, I thought it was spam. It was a long time in the process before I thought, hey, I should really pick up on this and follow through. And thankfully, it was real. And the interesting part was it was the whole process until the contract went out was through an audience member, but not the decision maker. And this audience member had been following me for a long while, thought I'd be a good candidate for their professional service day, and finally took it up to their upper management and then the decision makers. So I always have to battle two groups. So I'm following on social media to find the people who actually sit in the seats, as well as those who hire me privately as a coach or as arts-related therapy sessions. But for the people, the decision makers for events, larger events, conferences, and exhibits, I have to go completely different places. And for me, it's been very much driven by the media, which is why once the media declined, then my business declined too, and that was because I moved several provinces. But when the media attraction was there, I didn't have to do any marketing for the decision makers to call. They were seeing me in newspapers, on TV, in magazines, and then they would track me down, which was very, very nice. So that's my new learning curve, is I'm still in contact with those who sit in the seats, but to get to the decision makers, I'm now having to network with different groups. And for me, Host and eWomen have been great for connecting with fabulous people, but they're not likely to hire me for the bigger gigs. They're the people sitting in the seats. For me, it's Chamber of Commerce, or as I'm about to go to health conferences and so on, and meet with those people who are looking to train their staff. That's my nugget.
Yeah.
So before we go any further, I really want to share something that Heather put up. She says that one tool that she uses to find her audience is Node-X, Node 3X. Hashtag searching allowed me to interact with others who I would never have found otherwise.
Yeah, I've used that tool. It's a great tool.
Thanks,
Assuming your audience uses hashtags.
Yes, hashtags seem to be a really important piece.
Yeah. So, I was looking at art therapy in Jaxie, and there's actually a plethora of opportunities for those for that particular keyword and variants of that keyword.
Well, there you go, Carol Ann.
It is, and just on that note, a little aside, but of course we have to be careful with the terms too, because I'm not a registered art therapist. I use art therapy techniques. I am both a certified coach as well as my degree in communications and arts, but I have to be very careful when I put those two words together. So yes, I use art therapy techniques, but I'm not an art therapist.
Right. Well, I didn't even realize that there was any kind of accreditation for art therapy in the first place, you know. So.
Yes. And as much as I would love to get that accreditation, and I can get certified in the US quite easily, but to get keep that certification in Canada is near impossible. Just so,
really?
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in as we are live and recorded. So I just want to make sure I'm not out there as an art therapist, but I am an artist who uses therapeutic techniques using art.
Yeah, here I am putting you on your art therapy pedestal, and you just
I just jumped straight off of it.
Very good.
So Larry, what about you? Where do you go to try to find your audience?
Well, I do a lot of networking, so that out in the real world with Host and a whole bunch of other networking groups. But online, I try to use content, and I do a lot of blogging. I post my blogs on LinkedIn, Google+, and Twitter. So I try to lead people back to my website and then use that to convert people to become clients. So it's it's not really sending out marketing messages as much as trying to draw people in and get people interested in hopefully in what I have to say, and that it resonates with them. And once that they feel that resonance, then they want to learn more. And if they want to learn more, then they want to talk to me. So that's the whole idea behind content marketing.
So that's the educational piece, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Craig, what about you? How and where do you tend to find your clients?
Most of my marketing work is actually boots on the ground. I'm focused on my local market, so getting out and meeting people, and everybody says networking. Of course, I have a place for them to come here locally, and I've set up some Google Plus assets that people can go to and interact with each other. I find a lot of I'm focusing on businesses, but of course the businesses are focusing on local customers. So when I go to the local customer level, most of that's done in Facebook, and I absolutely hate the platform, but it's a necessary thing.
So when you said you had places things in Google Plus, what exactly do you do for them in Google Plus?
Well, I share local interest stories from the newspapers and stuff that I've written. I have a directory site for my local area, and that includes all of a good portion. I'm still building that of the businesses in the area. So when people want to find out about a business, they go to that site. And I try and put in local flavor and stuff like that there too.
So that's one of the other reasons that people go online is to find things that they're specifically looking for, finding products and services that they already know that they want. Yeah.
Well, and in the local marketing, mobile is just an absolutely monstrous commodity. If the businesses don't have a mobile presence, it's very difficult for them to actually make a dent in the shoppers these days. So it's very important for them to go mobile, and it's kind of, people have to be where their customers are, as Jay was saying, and where the customers are now is on their phones.
Yeah, I totally agree, especially if you're involved in a local industry where a lot of people will search for you in a hair on fire type of situation. Oh no, my windshield is smashed, right? So I got a big chip, and then so they'll be on their phone. Look, windshield repair, wherever they're located. Or flood or damage or something.
And or nationwide insurance.
Yeah.
And or nationwide insurance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, it depends on the situation. So, someone who's looking for cosmetic surgery would probably be doing it more at home on their laptop as opposed to looking for it on their phone, because they're going to want to look at photos and stuff like that. So. But I totally agree that how your business presence online needs to be responsive, where your site will adapt to whatever browser is being used. So if I'm using an online browser on my phone, the website will automatically change so that the stuff fits inside, And actually, I got a notification last night of someone who people like Lalan knows. That just launched their website, and I was on my phone when I got that notification on Google Plus, and I went to their website, and it was not mobile friendly, and I didn't have the heart to tell her, so because it says that she's finally did it and spent all this time on it, so I think I'll privately let her know about that, but because in most cases it could be an easy fix.
Right. So I was going to share some of it. Heather's been typing in here frantically here. So here's one of her messages. Utilizing all platforms a little at a time is a good way to be in front of customers. What else did she hear?
Yeah, don't put your eggs all in one basket.
No.
And I think that's a good point too, is a little at a time. Don't push it. Don't really force things on people. It just puts them off, whether there's a restriction against it, as Nathan's discovered, of what you can post and where you can post. It's the same when I had all the media attention. I wasn't selling my services. I wasn't asking people. There wasn't really a call to action. It was more a matter of informing people of what was going on in their community at the time and drawing people in that way, getting them so they're so interested they have to call and ask questions, or they feel compelled to go to a website and learn more, or in my case, get to the event or get to the workshop.
Yeah, I mean, in my case, what I did is I offered 3 sessions for free as a way of opening the door, and it astonished me as to what happened, because after the first session, and this was all in a Facebook group, after the first session, somebody I know locally, a few doors down from me, wrote to me and asked me if I wanted to use a massage table, because I don't have one right now. So I got a massage table same afternoon. Next day I had 2 sessions, and I wound up using the table for both of those. But one of the people that I worked with, she really liked what I did, and she said, well, she turned out to be a center of influence. She introduced me to a ton of people, and then she said, of all these people, you need to talk to these 5. And after I did a session yesterday, I went down to a restaurant for lunch, and forgot that the guy who owned it was one of the connectors. Well, he recognized me when I came in for lunch. And so we had this discussion. He said, well, I'm going to introduce you to this person. You really need to talk to this person. And we have this big room behind the restaurant where we do events, and it was just rather astonishing as to how quickly things just moved in that way. Right now it's very quiet today, but over a period of a few days, and there are a couple of parties coming up this weekend. I'm going to go to both of them, and I'm sure I'll meet a ton of people from that, because the word really got out quite a bit, and we'll see where it goes. I haven't a clue.
Well, that's great.
So I was going to share another comment from Heather, and this goes back a little bit. I understand that. I make my money on the pieces I customize. My audiences like to watch for free and on occasion purchase a supply from my store. The folks who buy my goods, they are not watching my shows. That's interesting, eh?
Yeah, and I think that's crucial. I mean, a lot of people on the island will speak for free in hopes of people buying the content or buying the book and so on. I don't actually tend to do that as a professional speaker. That's my sole income. But it's a matter of what I've discovered recently is even making the videos, and as some of you have seen, they're fun, they're silly, but they always have an important message in them. They're not professionally created. They're just putting something out there so people can see who I am and get a sense of my personality, which is what they want to do. They want to trust us first. They want to know who we are first, no matter what we're selling. And I've had more traction on those crazy videos than I have all the careful blogs I've written or all the different networking I've done on this island since I've moved here. But I've got way more traction because people get to see who I am, what I do, and my style. And you either love it or you don't.
Yeah, it's your lost leader, right? I mean, it's the time that you invest in anticipation of gathering leads or traffic or something, and I think it's great. Using several different mediums to attract an audience. So it's somewhat similar to an artist where they like stick to one medium, but sometimes they will diversify and try different mediums to attract different audiences, right? So.
And some of us can't even stick to that. But I think when it comes down to it, what we started with is it's really knowing your audience. So who are they? Are they just one person? Are they one kind of person, one business, one gender? What are they? Or do you have 2 or 3 audiences that are crucial? Like Heather's talking about, and for myself, having that stage, there's those who hire us individually and those who hire us to come in and do bigger workshops and so on. 2 totally different sets of people who hang out in different places, who are looking for a different call to action. So I found no matter what you do, you have to know who they are first, yes, know where they are, and then more importantly than anything, tie it in with they need to trust you. So if it's a service where they don't need you to know you personally, then that's different. But if it's a service like mine where you're trusting me in front of 500 teenagers, you need to know that I'm going to say the right things, be appropriate, and be lively and entertaining enough to sustain their interest. The best way for them to see that is either experience another event or see me on video. For somebody else, it's a different tool, but it has to match where they're looking and who's looking for them. So for me, a lot of those event planners get referrals from other people in the audience. So it's always that going backwards and forwards and looking at it in a more holistic approach. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes sense to me.
I've got a question here.
Yeah, I'm just going to ask you, Anne, what about you?
Okay, well, so Jay talked about, people looking for you in this hair on fire sort of situation. So when he said that, I quickly typed into my phone in Google, bookkeeping Victoria, BC. Well, I don't come up. Other people do. And I'm like, okay, what do I need to do to come up? The little Google map pops up with 3 or 4 people on there. And I'm like, what are they paying for those? How are they on that map?
There are other keywords to consider, and Jay would be very much aware of this. Bookkeeping BC would be, in my opinion, a highly competitive keyword. But if you had a certain aspect of bookkeeping, like construction bookkeeping BC, and you created a keyword to do with that, I think you'd have a much better chance of ranking for it. See, a lot of people don't realize that some of these keywords are highly competitive, and the likelihood of you being able to rank for them is not that great unless you have a really great presence with lots of posts and backlinks and so on. And I'm sure Jay would verify that.
Yeah, to a certain degree. I mean, there's a huge difference. Yeah, but you're absolutely right when it comes to keyword difficulty. But that doesn't mean one of the great things about local marketing and local SEO is that it's not impossible to rank for very difficult keywords, such as bookkeeping BC or bookkeeping Victoria. It's putting the wheels in motion, because the actual competition versus a non-local keyword. Non-local keyword, you're right on the money, Nathan. And when it comes to local. So just to answer your question in regards to the map listings, so there's a way to actually get those. No, they're not paying for those map listings.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, they're free, and it's actually using Google Plus. So you would actually be creating a Google Plus page, and when you go through the motions of creating this page, you would be you'd select local, whereas it will ask for your address. Now, here's the caveat to that, is that one of the reasons why those people are listing within the maps is because they're publicly, openly displaying their address to be available, to be displayed. So, if you work from home and you don't want to publicly show your address, there is an alternative to that, where there's a little checkbox as you go through these motions, where it will walk you through saying, okay, well, you don't want to show your address, that's okay. The checkbox says, okay, well, you go to these people's offices, right? So you service a certain demographic, or a certain geographic area. So that will help you get in those map listings. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to be in there, but it certainly will help you get in there. And there's a myriad of other things that you need to do to get in there. One thing is called citations, and the citation is a web mention of your business name, address, or phone number. And so what Google does is it cross-references that information. So for example, if you have a Yelp listing or a BBB listing, make sure your business name, your address, and your phone number are the same as it is on that Google Plus page, right? Because it cross-references those things, because it wants to make things synonymous. It wants to make things precise, So yeah. But and that's pretty much what Craig does, when it comes to the local business, when he attracts his clients and when he works with his clients, is he'll build that local plus page, put in your address and all that kind of stuff, and then he'll go out and get these citations, because you can create these citation sources: BBB, Yelp, Foursquare, Yellow Pages, and so on and so forth. And you can put up those listings, and then Google will cross-reference those, and make sure that they're correct, and then it'll rank you based on that information.
Thank you for the information. My feeling is there's too many things you have to do. I mean, I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Facebook, and
and that's where, absolutely,
and I'm still not showing up.
Yeah, and that's where people like Craig and myself come in to play, right? Where you hire people like us, or you take a course on how to do it yourself, right? So it obviously depends on your cost, your marketing budget, right? So but there are people out there that certainly can help home-based businesses get ranked. So I tend to go after the corporate clients that have franchises, because they have that larger marketing budget to be able to do that. Right? So, and branching out using Facebook ads, YouTube ads, that kind of thing. So.
I find that customers often feel overwhelmed with all this stuff. It's stuff that they don't really want to know, and so when I can help them with it, they're very grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like taking your car in for repairs. You want to know a little bit as to what they're doing, but you don't need to know that they're tweaking the flux capacitor. I mean, you don't need to know wiggling the Johnson rod and whatever they're doing, right? I just want it fixed. I want it done. That's why I pay my money. So, okay, let me know when it's done. So,
Did you say wiggling the Johnson? Because that has a whole different meaning.
yeah, well, you know, tweaking the flux capacitor, wiggling the Johnson rod, you know, so.
Oh dear.
Get him under control, Lowell.
For those that don't know, a Johnson rod is on a train.
Yeah,
There you go,
don't
right?
ruin my vision now. I got it.
I've never heard the expression, but that's one of the problems with slang. I mean, a friend of mine got into major trouble in Cuba because of that with Spanish. And when she told me this story, I was in tears. I was laughing so hard, but that's what happens. Slang can cause all sorts of problems.
Right.
Which is the expression "getting knocked up," or "I'll knock you up at 6." You know, I mean, that's fine in England or maybe Australia, but in Canada it has an entirely different meaning.
Oh, it does in England too.
No doubt.
At least I was 17, not 6.
So I think we're sort of getting off our topic here. So, but I'm also looking at the clock. We're way over our 30 minutes. So perhaps it's time to say goodbye for this week with the recap that I guess our main message is to spend as much time as you can determining the characteristics of the target that you're looking for, but then all of these other pieces that you were all mentioning, this is all research, and it takes time. You don't just push something out there and think that it's going to work without doing the adequate research. So, and and the other thing that I've noticed about connecting on social platforms is that takes time as well. Just as it takes time when you meet a new person to develop a relationship. So, really, that's what happens online and offline. They happen a little bit differently, but the same things apply, I think. So paying attention to who our target client is, what they're looking for, and spending the time to research. So I think that's our biggest takeaway for this morning. So thank you all for participating. Thank you for putting up with me pulling things in. I finally did discover how to make this comment tracker work. So, and again, I put that partially at Heather Crafter's doorstep. She and Ronnie Binzer and Michael Daniels, they did a really good hangout that explained how to do all this. So I kudos to the work that they did. It worked for me. So let's say goodbye for this week, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Lowell Ann signing off.